Captain Midnight.
This video is brought to you by Skillshare. The MCU has grown far beyond what anyone in 2008 could have predicted. It encompasses some of Marvel's most popular heavy hitters and some previously obscure ones too that it's brought to a wider audience. But, of course, that's nothing compared to the actual Marvel Universe, which contains thousands upon thousands of characters. So it's probably only natural that fans want to see more, and that definitely includes me. So this week, I've decided to run down the Marvel characters I most want to see in the MCU. But before I start, I should probably lay down some ground rules. In this list, I'm taking the Fantastic Four and the X-Men off the table. I could so easily just fill this video with members of those teams, and while that might be fun, it would also be pretty predictable. So I'm going to be leaving the Wolverines and the Mr. Fantastics alone today and diving a bit deeper into the characters I most want to see in the MCU.
Stand a little straighter, walk a little prouder, be an innovator, laugh a little loud.
Number 5. Moon Knight. You know that indie band you like that always seems on the verge of a big mainstream breakout hit but can never quite manage it? If they were a Marvel character, they'd be Moon Knight. Debuting as a villain in 1975, Moon Knight has quietly established himself as a fan favorite. He's a great character with an awesome costume and some pretty cool powers. But he also presents some unique challenges when taking him to the big screen. The most glaring of which is that his origin story is insanely convoluted, in that it involves a boxer turned marine turned mercenary who gets powers from an Egyptian moon god, then pretends to be a different person who's also a millionaire. Oh, and also he pretends to be a cab driver sometimes. Look, it's messy. But the core of the character is interesting. In a weird way, it's the story of a man constantly running from his past. If they strip this narrative down to its essentials, much like they were able to do in Guardians of the Galaxy, I really think they could come up with a Moon Knight script that gets across what fans love about this character. And he's just been rumored for so long, so it's like, come on Marvel, just give the guy a chance. Number 4. The Silver Surfer. Okay, so I'm cheating a little bit here. I said no Fantastic Four stuff, but I think the Surfer has sufficiently made a name for himself outside of the team. I don't know, it's my list, so I'm gonna put him on here. The Silver Surfer would probably not be the easiest to adapt as the lead of a movie, but he's one of my favorite characters in the Marvel Universe. Larger than life cosmic characters like this have a tendency to be kind of hard for me to get into, honestly. Don't get me wrong, a lot of them are cool, but I need like a really strong emotional hook, something that lets me in on how they see the world, beyond just, hey, I'm a big scary alien. And the Surfer really has that. Introduced as an astronomer on an alien world, forced to be Galactus's herald, basically a glorified scout, the Surfer traveled the universe, living with the horrific knowledge that he's bringing torment and pain pretty much wherever he goes. But after betraying Galactus, he finds himself exiled to Earth, where he became one of Marvel's most thoughtful and conflicted heroes. In fact, back in the 70s, Stan Lee used to say that he got more feedback from college campuses about the Silver Surfer than any other character, as students really responded to the cerebral, almost mournful tone of the stories, and, of course, Jack Kirby's very out-there artwork. But how do you translate those qualities to an MCU movie? Well, thankfully the Surfer's relaunch from writer Dan Slott a few years ago might just point the way. It keeps the Surfer's thoughtfulness and melancholy, but it also adds a supporting character that he can bounce off of and bring something new to the table. Now it's a long shot maybe, but I'd really love to see them try. Number 3. Miss Marvel. So I'm always in for a good coming of age story, and Miss Marvel is one of the best that Marvel has served up in a long time. Following Kamala Khan's journey from an insecure teen in New Jersey who looked up to Captain America to a pretty powerful hero who takes up the mantle of Miss Marvel after Carol Danvers leaves it behind, I really enjoyed the more grounded approach that G. Willow Wilson takes with her writing. Kamala's New Jersey feels very real and lived in. It's not just a generic backdrop for superhero battles. The characters, and Miss Marvel's complicated relationship with her family, and especially her dad, adds an extra layer of depth to her that a lot of teen heroes we see in comics are missing. And I'd love to see that play out on screen. My only real concern is that maybe the characters' adventures would be better served on TV, not in movie form, where it's easier to do smaller scale stories. Either way though, this is one I'd be pretty happy to see.
Stronger than a whale, he can swim anywhere. He can breathe underwater and go flying through the air. The noble submariner, prince of the deep.
Number 2. Blade. This one should really explain itself. He's Blade. Everyone loves Blade. People liked Blade before most casual moviegoers even knew he was a Marvel character. And for good reason. Wesley Snipes' badass vampire has 2 great movies under his belt, and also one we don't talk about, but those first 2 are really fun. But since Blade has left movie screens, and apparently TV screens actually, do you remember this TV show? Apparently it just totally slipped by me. Anyway, while he's been gone, comic book movies have changed a lot, and it'd be fascinating to see where Blade now fits into that. Wesley Snipes is gunning to play him again, which would be cool, but since Marvel got the rights back from Sony, something tells me that they'd pull a Tom Holland and just totally recast. Which might be a little disappointing for people, but I could see it working out too. Whatever they do though, they should really do it soon, because it's been way too long since we've seen Blade on our screens. Honestly, the character is so liked that I think Marvel is just sitting on a barely tapped goldmine here. 1. Namor. Chances are you probably guessed this, and I admit, it's not exactly surprising, but that doesn't change the fact that I absolutely want to see Namor the Submariner in the MCU. One of the first Marvel characters ever, before they were even called Marvel. In my opinion, Namor has lingered throughout Marvel history because of one thing. The dude is always incredibly pissed off. He's not usually a bloodthirsty villain or anything, but as an Atlantean, he definitely doesn't harbor much goodwill for us surface dwellers. One thing that's always made the character so fun through the years is that you never know where he's going to come down. He could be a hero or an anti-hero. Sure, he doesn't want to see the galaxy destroy it or anything, I mean, after all, he lives in it, but he also pretty much has no loyalty to the rest of the Avengers or to humanity itself, and that makes him a pretty great wild card. Now, I am generalizing a bit here, and that's one of the pitfalls of talking about comic characters that have been around since 1939. There's just been a ton of interpretations of him. But this angry, combative Namor could really fit in well in the MCU, and I'd love to see him butt heads with Thor, Cap, or even the Guardians. But of course, there are complications. Not only is there a ton of rights issues surrounding the character, there kind of always has been, there's also the Aquaman factor. I'm not sure that Marvel would ever want to be seen as playing second fiddle to DC with another Atlantis hero, but I feel like I can always hope, right? Those were my picks, but I definitely want to hear about yours, so be sure to include your list in the comments. One thing I was really struck by while making this video is just how much comic book art has changed through the years, as the techniques and styles evolve. Now, I'm probably not ever going to be Fiona Staples or anything, but it's always fun to try your hand at illustrating, and a great way to learn is by checking out Learning How to Draw, a mindset, method, and exercises from illustrator Yuko Shimazu, who teaches in a really approachable, interesting way that anyone can learn from, and you can only see it on Skillshare. Skillshare is an online community with over 20,000 classes in design, business, technology, and more. Premium subscription gives you unlimited access to high-quality classes on must-know topics, so you can improve your skills, unlock opportunities, and do the work you love. Get 2 months of Skillshare for free by going to the link in the description or pinned comment below, so definitely click on that link today and start learning.
Here's a special tip for the fellas and girls who have not already joined Captain Midnight's new 1940 Flight Patrol. You'd better hurry up and join at once, because there's a big adventure ahead. The thing to do now is to get started, because we're going to have not only barrels of fun, but loads of free gifts and prizes too.